Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another exciting edition of Pardon Our Picks, where perfection is a work in progress. My name is Sam, your beloved host, as always. And, of course, with me is Tarek. How you doing tonight?
Well, I'm beloved my host. I mean, who wouldn't? I'm doing pretty good tonight. Ready to talk about some football. How about you, buddy?
I'm doing pretty good. Doing pretty good. Of course, the Orange Bomber himself, wearing the orange, ready to roll. We have Football Jesus. How you doing tonight?
Well, I'm not feeling the love as much this week, but you know what? I'm still here, and I'm still here to make sure I'm still in the running.
That's true. That's true. Things have been looking up for you recently. Have you been getting some insight from our QB guru, Jessica?
Did you take any of my advice there, Brady?
I don't know. I guess we'll have to see how the picks fall this week.
Speaking of what, how you doing tonight, Jess?
I'm pretty good. I'm a little bit tired, but it's only Tuesday, so I gotta wake up.
You're giving away our secrets. Now people know when we record.
Or is it Wednesday?
Anywho, so
Oh, isn't that fancy?
Yes. Well, same as last week.
I don't pay attention. I just edit the videos.
Obviously. Well, we are sponsored by Aardvark Concepts, where they are more than just a sign shop. And In Too Deep, catch them this Saturday, Halloween show, Waterfront Hotel, 9 p.m. It's going to be a great show. Come dressed up. It's going to be smashing.
Smashing Pumpkins.
Well, yeah, that was kind of a Smashing Pumpkins reference. Thank you. Thank you for bringing that up.
I'm trying to think of a song, and I'm not a big Smashing Pumpkins fan, so I don't know. I'm like, I can't make a pun to make a joke on that.
It's okay. I stretched a little bit for that one. Speaking of stretches, it's not a far stretch to say that, a lot of quarterbacks have been replaced this year, and perhaps a couple more might get replaced. Who do you guys think should be replaced as far as starting quarterback goes? And we will start the bidding with Football Jesus.
I've been riding this train all season, and I don't think I'm going to be the only one after this week. I'm going to say Aaron Rodgers. I mean, they locked him up, to make sure that he finishes his career there. But the numbers that he's putting up are not Aaron Rodgers-like numbers. And it kind of shows that either Green Bay cannot develop wide receivers, or Aaron Rodgers just refuses to help develop these receivers as he continues to place blame on them instead of himself. And while the run game may be working, the pass game just isn't. And you would think, if you guys look back to last week, the wild last play that they had against the Commanders, where it was, toss the ball around backyard style to see if they can score, you would think getting the ball into your quarterback's hands, he would be able to throw it horizontally across the field to hit a lineman, but he threw it between his legs. So off of that, I think they should start Jordan Love. See if they wasted that first-round pick on him to know that if they need in the upcoming draft, they can draft a quarterback.
Strong words. I would say calm yourself.
No, Aaron Rodgers sucks this year.
Emotions. Anyway.
He and Marcus Mariota are on the same train.
So, what about the QB guru? What do you think?
I think in a perfect world where everyone had the same consequences, Aaron Rodgers would have been out of the job this year already. First of all, it's not just the fact that he's playing horrendously, because his throws are absolutely abysmal. I understand that he's rushed, but so are other quarterbacks. He just looks like trash. And part of the problem is he has these two new receivers that they got to replace Adams, to try and replace Adams. Young guys, rookies, and it's his job as the leader and the captain to make sure he's getting the chemistry with them, getting in the reps with them. Like, I think I heard that Patrick Mahomes was even going to guys' houses to practice, to make sure he was like building that relationship and that trust, making sure they were on the same page. And Aaron Rodgers seems anything but involved with anyone else improving. So and putting in the work that he has to put in. He just blames everybody else. I would say Aaron Rodgers. I think he's a negative impact to morale. They also did draft Jordan Love. They got, I would suggest trying to build that, give him a shot, see if it's worth keeping him or trying to trade him and seeing what happens. They're not winning anyway.
I wonder what that says for Jordan Love, though, how good he actually is. If Aaron Rodgers is this bad and getting beaten up and he can't even sniff the field.
It could be an old Ravens issue where like the coach just won't let it go. Ravens had that with Kyle Bowler. He sucked year after year, but they kept him on. So, but
It's because he could throw the ball 60 yards from his knees. Like that's an actual thing to measure in an actual football game. But
Problem is he's throwing it 60 yards in the wrong direction.
so is it my turn now, beloved host?
The Orange Bomber has the floor.
All right. Is this thing on? All right. So I'm gonna parlay this into a slightly different question. And I'm gonna kind of pose it back as a question: is Russell Wilson on that? So Russell Wilson, Super Bowl level quarterback, just like Aaron Rodgers, won the Super Bowl, but Wilson was traded for a very expensive trade from the Seahawks to the Broncos, has done jack squat. I'm looking at stats for the last couple of games. He's had in the last 3 games, he's had 3 touchdowns, and one of them was 0. So he's not doing well. And I don't know. The reason I pose this is he was out Sunday. He didn't play, and they still lost, and it looked the exact same gameplay. So I don't know how much of this is Russell Wilson and how much of it is Nathaniel Hackett. And there are commentators, I think Eisman was one of them, that is calling out Hackett, like, stop what you're doing. It's not working. Whatever your plan is, throw it away, get rid of it. And now you Google Hackett, and all it is article after article from Denver to New England saying to fire him. So I don't know how much of that is quarterback and how much of that is coaching and the staff. So Russell Wilson question mark?
It's a good question. I mean, he's certainly underperformed his contract, but I mean, in the past, even last year, he came on towards the end of the season in Seattle, but
yeah, but I mean, you want someone that can go all the way through. I mean, Ravens fans are pissed because 3 quarters you get up by double digits, and then you let them catch up to within a field goal every single game. So
yeah. Listen, mine is probably going to be a little shocking. I think that Marcus Mariota should sit, and Desmond Riddler should jump in. Quite frankly, I mean, they drafted a guy in the 4th round. Yes, he's not exactly, cream of the crop, but Marcus Mariota, he's done okay. But I gotta wonder, this guy right here, he was dynamic in college. I mean, he was putting up good numbers. He was hard to beat. And he sat behind Mariota for a little while, and they've been in games, but Mariota can't get him over the top. And I'm wondering if perhaps it's Mariota. Mariota's had problems in the past getting people over the top. He's made the playoffs one time as a starting quarterback for the Tennessee Titans many years ago, and then he got replaced by Ryan Tannehill, of all people. I don't think that he has that killer instinct anymore, and I think Desmond Riddler might. And that division is wide open. My goodness, Tom Brady's terrible. Saints, horrible. They're playing PJ Walker in Carolina. The heck's going on there? And yet, every single team within 1 game of each other. None of them over 500, of course. So I think Desmond Riddler would put that team over the top, and I think they would win the division by at least 2 games with him in there right now. I think he would give them that extra spark. They're not going to do it. But speaking of things that won't ever happen, let's take a look at Football Jesus' record and see how far back he currently is. Oh,
God, Burrow.
Creeping up.
he's at least broken 500, which is beautiful.
Creeping up.
It's funny because technically, I mean, he would be 500 if there wasn't that tie, probably, possibly, or it could be 2 games over. Who knows? But Jessica has taken the lead. Kudos to Jessica.
My
Tarek,
controversial picks from last week, some of them paid off, and I'm making my way back up to take that spot away from you, Sam.
who says I'm going to stay in this spot for a while? I mean, I can
No,
trust
you're gonna
Jessica.
drop.
You're gonna drop, and I'm gonna take over number 2, and then I'm coming for Jessica.
We'll see how
Bring it
that
on.
goes. We'll see how that goes. But you
Like
know,
how your voice got all high defending that. Oh, we'll see how it goes.
I don't stay down for too long. And you know this. I always come roaring back. And well, let's get on with the picks. The games of the week. We're gonna start with football. Jesus. What, pray tell, is the gospel of the week?
The gospel of the week, just like Tarek likes to make fun of me of, is a game that most people are probably not excited about, but I am based on the implications. And that's the Carolina Panthers going against the Atlanta Falcons, led by the aforementioned Marcus Mariota. This game, both these teams are under 500. Both of them are not playing up to where they expected to at the beginning of the season. I mean, Atlanta traded their starting quarterback away, so we kind of expected them to take a step back. But Carolina traded for Baker Mayfield. They kind of expected to be in the front running for the division. And because every team in this division is playing like crap, they still kind of are. And last week, they surprised the division leading Tampa Bay Buccaneers and won by a large margin of 3 scores, I believe. I think it was over 17 points that they won by. And I think that's going to kind of inject some life into this Carolina team. I mean, they traded away their star player, Christian McCaffrey. And I think that defense that the front office of Carolina is so keen on holding on to, I mean, they were offered multiple first-round picks for some of their star defensive players, and they said no. I think they're going to go into Atlanta, and they're going to do the same thing they did to a much better offense in Tampa Bay's, to the Atlanta Falcons. That's going to have the Atlanta front office thinking, do we need to start Desmond Ridder over Marcus Mariota? And the answer, as I agree with Sam, is yes. I have Carolina in this one by 2 scores.
Holy guacamole, Brady.
I'm jazzed.
Holy guacamole. I can't imagine why you're falling so far behind on these picks. But,
Hey, who picked the Commanders last week over
yeah,
the Packers?
That was a bold move, Cotton. But
And it worked.
yeah. Anyway,
You're still in last.
I'm coming for you.
yeah, if it's not already obvious, I'm definitely not picking Carolina in this. I'm actually going to go with the Falcons. The Falcons seem to be getting momentum, even though they did lose to the Bengals, who are a good team right now, who have hit a very, very strong stride. The Falcons' run defense is pretty good. That's pretty much what Carolina's offense is going to rely on. Chuba Hubbard and Foreman, it's the same thing with Tampa Bay. Typically, you did not run against Tampa Bay. Now you run against Tampa Bay without issue. Carolina pulled it off this week, and I'm pretty sure they're not going to be able to pull it off next week with Atlanta. I think it's going to be a closer game. I think there's at least going to be 1 interception thrown by Walker. But I think it's going to be a 10-point game. Atlanta's going to win.
All right, I have choices to make. Usually I'm deciding whether to agree or disagree completely with our 2 people here. Now I have a choice. Do I go with Football Jesus? Do I go with a QB guru? Is that what we're calling her? I'm picking Atlanta. I think they're going to edge this one out. I don't think it's going to be by a margin. I think it's going to be a 1-score game. But as Jess said, Atlanta has picked up just a little bit. They got a little bit more momentum. They got a little bit more going for them. Yeah, Carolina beat Tampa Bay, but what's that mean right now? Tom Brady's in the crapper. He's not looking like the Tom Brady that we all know and I hate from years in the past. So I think things are falling apart at the seams for Tampa Bay. So that's not the the accomplishment. They didn't level up for that one. They just didn't mean much, in my opinion. So I think I think Carolina may come in cocky, like, yeah, we beat Tom Brady, and Atlanta's just gonna be like, yeah, okay, and just run it down and score. But I think it's gonna be a hard fought game, and I'm gonna go with Atlanta.
Let me give a little shout out to one of our more adorable special guests, Emmett. Emmett, hi. Hi, buddy.
He said, "You want to take a picture? I want to take a picture, please."
You taking pictures with mommy?
We can say hi. That's not hi.
Anyway, just spoke about the Atlanta Falcons. It kind of reminds me of the older Falcons teams where they just would find ways to lose. They just find ways to shoot themselves in the foot. Carolina, however, I think last week was a bit of a fluke. PJ Walker came in. He's an former XFL quarterback. They didn't know what the heck was going on. They traded away Christian McCaffrey. For some reason, they had some sort of shot of adrenaline ready to roll, and they completely demolished Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Falcons held their own for a while against the Cincinnati Bengals. I think the Falcons are a better team than a lot of people gave them credit for, but like I said, I think maybe with Desmond Riddler in the game, they might have had a better shot, especially in some of their other closer games that they've lost. And a lot of their games, they've been within one score games. It's been pretty rough for them, just not being able to get over that hump. I think this week they do. It's a divisional game. I think they get the victory here to get to 500. Atlanta for the victory.
I love Brady's face. Just went from you could just see it, just every ounce of just irritation. Just
No, it's fine because that means I'm getting closer to that third spot.
Getting further and further under 500.
That's what you think.
This is not an ASMR video. Can we stop that?
It is now.
Ew.
Happening ASMR.
Anyway,
I agree with Jess. Ew.
let's move on to the Orange Bombers game of the week.
All right, so I've got the Los Angeles Chargers, and I forgot my game already.
Yeah, you did.
49ers.
Very much forgot it.
Los Angeles Rams and the 49ers.
There you go.
All right, there we go. Well, when you got two teams in one city, it doesn't help when I go off of city.
True. But the Chargers are off this week. That's why I knew it wasn't right.
that helps. Okay, so I think I don't do this every week. Sometimes when I can't pick a game, when I just, as Sam has said earlier, I don't remember if he said that on recording or not. This week was a hodgepodge of crap to choose from. I was having trouble picking one. So I took a leaf out of Brady's book and went, okay, well, who kind of sucks but can make it a decent game? So both these teams are either, as you can see, 500 or under. So it should be good. It's a division game. It's a division rivalry game, so it should make it interesting, at least for the people watching. I was looking at some of the stats here. So, like we mentioned, Christian McCaffrey, he went to the 49ers. So that could make a difference. But they recently just lost to the Chiefs. They got something to fight for here. I was looking at the defense. So we got the third best. Now my stats may be off. Got third best defense and 14th offense for the Niners, and third best defense. That's all wrong. Okay, I just wrote stuff down. Ignore everything I'm saying. So it's just everywhere. I wrote down notes, but I didn't write down what the notes meant, so it doesn't mean anything.
What's this 3 for?
Yeah, it just says 3.
Reminding himself of what place is going to lose this week in the standing.
I'm gonna gain. I'm gonna lose third because I'm gonna be in second. All right, so it looks like I got the 49ers. I think is that who I picked, Sam? I feel like I just all messed up on my own game.
Oh my goodness. No.
I got the Rams. Okay. Anyways, gonna
Are
work.
you sure?
No, I'm not. That's why I was asking who I picked.
Sure about that?
No, it's not helping. All right, so let's just go with what I do know about these teams. We got Jimmy G versus Matthew Stafford. Both these teams should be better on paper than what they're currently showing. So I'm going off of who I actually picked on my Yahoo app here. I got the 49ers, so I'll go off of that. But the Rams are coming off of a bye week. I do know that. So they're a little bit more refreshed. So it's going to make it a pretty interesting game. I don't know. I'm just going off of, I think the 49ers are going to come off with it, but I don't think it's going to be by big. It's going to be a very big back and forth. I think it's going to be a defense heavy game here. So I'm going with, right now I'm going with 49ers. If I pick differently, we'll see what happens.
20 minutes later, we'll find out what if he has something else picked.
Well, I think it's a little bit more interesting than my co-host gave here. We've got a very stout defensive front of the Rams going against a newly acquired running back for the San Francisco 49ers, who last week didn't really put up that much numbers because he was traded 2 days or 3 days before the game actually started. So I think this week we're going to see a lot more Christian McCaffrey in the San Francisco offense. But I think it's the San Francisco defense that's really going to help them seal this game, as the Rams offense has shown they have a real inability to run the ball effectively and throw the ball to anyone other than Cooper Kupp. So I think the San Francisco defense is going to key in on that. And I think they're going to come away with a small victory here, not a large one, but just enough to knock this division foe down a peg.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to agree, though. I don't know that they even need to be knocked down a peg because they have a 7-game regular season losing streak against the 49ers. So I think that pattern is going to continue. Also, the Rams defense should be 1 or 2, it should be up there. They have played some very disappointing games, though. And yes, at points it's injuries, but everybody's got that. I think the 49ers looked pretty good, even against the Kansas City Chiefs, other than the turnovers. And I think that's going to be the key to this game for them to hold on to the lead, is to not turn the ball over. I believe they turned it over like 3 times against the Chiefs. But typically the 49ers defense is ranked 1 or 2 in the league. I think that is also going to be the key to this game. I think McCaffrey's finally going to get some heavy targets. Well, not finally, this is the second game, but he got more targets than I thought he was going to get last week. And I think it's going to be a close, very physical game. And I have the 49ers by 7.
I went back and forth on this one. This is a very tough game. I think this one's going to be a very interesting game. And if I didn't pick my game, this is the game I actually would have picked. Jimmy G, he did toss a couple of interceptions last week to the Chiefs, who aren't very good on defense. The Rams, coming off the bye, they've had their struggles on offense and defense. Quite frankly, they haven't been able to close out games. But it's also hard to beat a team coming off bye, let alone a team coming off bye at home, even in a division. San Francisco is going to be a good team at the end of the season, but Jimmy G still needs more time to get feet under him for some reason. And I got the Rams bouncing back after a loss last week or 2 weeks ago to put themselves over 500 and get themselves closer to the Seahawks, who are the only team in that division with a winning record. All right. That being said, let's move on to my game of the week. And that game is ta-da! Jessica's game.
I was like, wait a minute, did you steal my game?
I completely forgot we haven't done Jessica yet. We've been on that one for so long.
So my game of the week is the Thursday night game.
Shocker.
I did pick last week's Thursday night game as my game of the week as well, but I don't know if I've really picked a Ravens game yet. If I have, it was earlier, like way early. But when I initially saw the schedule and I saw that the Bucs were playing the Ravens week 8, I was like, man, that game's gonna suck. Now I'm not so afraid of it, to be honest, as a Ravens fan. Like I said, with the Carolina Panthers running all over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and that being what the Ravens really need to focus on right now because of Lamar's, iffiness. I think I'm taking the Ravens in this game. And I think this is the first time Tom Brady has actually been the underdog at home. But right now the Bucks are averaging less than 18 points per game. They're not scoring. The offense looks horrendous. The defense is starting to give up a ton of points to Carolina, for that matter. Brady does not trust his offense. That's why he's the fastest quarterback getting rid of the ball. It doesn't mean he's actually putting it somewhere that it needs to be, at 2.4 seconds on average. And the times that he's extending it and holding on to it longer, he's completing less than 40% of his passes. He's obviously got a lot going on. At some point, yeah, I think he's going to bounce back, but I think this might be the week that both the Ravens offense and defense actually are jiving together. As the offense has started to be a little bit more lackluster on the Ravens, the defense has finally stepped it up. So I'm hoping this is the week where both are on par with where they need to be. The Ravens are also one of the better rushing teams, and Tampa Bay has some significant injuries. Obviously, Julio Jones has had another injury. Godwin is really, I think he's out again this week. Gage has gotten another injury. Really, it's only Evans that Brady has to really rely on. And he dropped some major passes last week. So definitely going Jackson. He's going to have a much better game, not necessarily in the air. And I have them taking it by 3 because, of course, the Ravens have to keep it close.
My comment was more on the fact that I'd already switched over. That's why we knew that it was Thursday night game. Not that you'd pick Thursday night 2 weeks in a row.
Already switched over.
I'd already switched over to show this game before you
Oh.
told me what
We,
your
we
game
all forgot you
was.
messed up, Sam, so you should have just
Oh.
let it go.
Yeah, we moved on.
That's yesterday's news. We don't.
On to my game now.
We just skip the.
I said it all. It's fine.
I guess I'm up. So I agree with Jess. I think the Ravens are going to take this. I've already mentioned some of the stuff that Ravens have been doing with the patterns that they've played this year. Almost every single game has been lead up by 2 digits, stop, let them catch up. It's like what I do when I play with my kids in the yard. I don't want to beat them too badly, but let them know their place. So I still win, but they catch up. So I see the same thing happening. Tom Brady's been falling apart. The Bucs don't look as good as they have in previous years. We'll see what Tom Brady and them have got left in the tank. They're still a force, but it's just not much. And the Ravens are proving that, I guess you could call it clutch. I don't know if this meets a definition for clutch when you're winning like that. When you let them catch up after you've gone so far out. But so I see him winning, but I actually fully agree with Jess. It's going to be by like a field goal.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, Tampa Bay's offense has looked anemic, and their defense, I feel like it's just starting to run out of gas after kind of keeping them in these last, 7 games, really. I mean, sure, Carolina ran all over them, but I mean, with the numbers their offense was putting up, you would have expected the score to be a little bit higher than it was. But I agree with everything that my cohorts have said here. The Ravens, I think the rushing attack is really going to be what leads this here, and then maybe Lamar Jackson gets to throw to his new wide receiver this week, and Deshaun Jackson, Mr. 36-year-old off of the practice squad. So we'll see if he's got anything left in the tank, because I know the Ravens are dealing with quite a few injuries. Mark Andrews has got a hip issue or a knee issue. Lamar Jackson himself has got a knee issue, as well as a litany of other injuries across the board, as many teams do at this point in the season. But as Tarek mentioned, Tom Brady's always due for a bounce back, and I just don't see it being this week, as well as our defense has played on paper in the last 4 weeks against much better offenses. So I do think it's going to be close, but I think it's going to be more of a sustained win for the Ravens rather than the Tampa Bay Buccaneers climbing back into it this week.
I think this is going to be a close game at the end of the game. I really do. The Ravens struggled to close out teams, but they have done it. I actually see this as a little bit of a get right game for Tom Brady maybe this week. The Ravens defense hasn't really stopped a lot of good quarterbacks from throwing the ball around, getting into the end zone. They stopped the Browns last week, who, let's face it, they do have Jacoby Brissett, and he's starting to struggle in his role. He really is. The week before that, I think it was the Bengals, if I'm not mistaken, and that ended up being a close game too. It ended up coming down to the wire. But I think this is going to be a high-scoring game. I think this is going to be one of the highest-scoring games of the week. I think, though, however, it's not going to be Tampa Bay comes back at the end. I think this is going to be they both keep scoring and they just don't stop. So it's whoever ends up with the ball at the end. And I think it's going to be the Ravens with the victory here. I think it's going to be real close. I think, Justin Tucker, 61-yard field goal or something like that at the end of the game. So Ravens for the win. And now for the moment you've all been waiting for, my game of the week that
Didn't you already go?
I tried to jump right in, but Jessica butted right between us.
Yeah.
So let's take a look at my game of the week. We have the Arizona Cardinals going against the Minnesota Vikings. The Vikings only with one loss this year. However, they haven't been playing as good a football as they could be. Kirk Cousins seems to be a bit more of a middle of the road kind of quarterback. They haven't really dazzled with their wins. Not a lot of high scoring in their victories. I mean, their only loss, I think, is against the undefeated Eagles. But every other game they've been in, it's been real close. Now, the reason why I picked this game as my game of the week, this is week 2 back for DeAndre Hopkins for the Arizona Cardinals. And knowing that they have a bit of a connection between him and Kyler Murray in Arizona, I think is going to make things a little more difficult for Minnesota this week. I really went back and forth on this one. I think this one is going to come down to the wire. I really do. I think it's going to be in the late 20s, early 30s. But I do have Minnesota eking out a win in this one just to stay ahead in the division.
I'm going to agree with you. I mean, Arizona has shown a real inability to run the ball this year without James Conner. And Kyler Murray is arguing openly with his head coach, who is also the offensive play caller. So I think there's a lot more going on in Arizona that we're seeing on the field. And Minnesota's coming off of that bye week. They had a week to get Dalvin Cook healthy, get Jalen Reagor more involved in the playbook. And Justin Jefferson is the best, if not second best wide receiver in the game. And I don't see Arizona having a cornerback being able to cover him. I really think DeAndre Hopkins is second week back. I mean, last week he did catch a lot of passes, but often looked confused in formation as what he was supposed to do. So I do expect this to be a high scoring game. As Sam said, somewhere in the 30s for both teams, but I do think that Minnesota's just got that little extra gas in the offensive tank to make sure that they run the clock out.
Yeah, I actually it was a struggle for me as well to pick this game, and I'm not entirely confident in my choice here, but I did go with the Vikings. I do think with Cook being healthy, them coming off of a bye, they were on a four game win streak prior to that. Sorry. And they were on a 4-game win streak after that. And I mean, the Arizona Cardinals, yeah, Hopkins is back, and that's definitely something that's going to be building over time, that relationship that they have, because they already had that established. Thank you. Anyway, but I think that they're going to do what they have done in previous weeks, such their defense gives up a lot of yards. I think passing yards mostly. And I think it's going to be a week that Kirk Cousins looks good. He has struggled in the past, and I think the Arizona Cardinals, oh my God. Sorry. The Arizona Cardinals gave up a ton of points to the Saints, and the Saints are horrendous. So yes, they had a good week this week, but I'm picking in the end of the day, I'm picking
Mommy,
yes.
what's up?
we're right here. I'm picking the Vikings. Sorry, he came out as soon as I
That's
started.
okay.
Of course you
He's
did. That's how
helping-
it works.
He's helping you make your picks. It's okay. Emmett, who do you pick?
Say,
So there's nothing really to say that hasn't been said. I guess privilege of going last. Everything's covered. That's a really cool canteen there. So I mean, Sam hit my main point. It's like, okay, yeah, the records here, 5-1. The only team they lost against is the Philly. So I think they just got a little bit more going for them than the Cardinals do. So yeah, I'm going with Minnesota here.
All right. You heard it here, folks. Everyone and a baby thinks Minnesota's going to win it. All right, let's move on to our pop panel pick'ems. Let's take a look. Only one dissenter on this first page, of course. It's Brady. It's football Jesus.
One game for me.
One of these days, you're gonna get crucified.
That's at the end of the season.
Yeah. When we shave your head.
No.
Oh yeah, it's happening.
I think your mom's coming to town to help us do it.
That's right. That's
Nope.
right.
I think we're gonna get like 50 whole views just on
Carol,
that
you
alone.
stay in San Antonio.
Carol, you come on out here. You help us out. You convince this boy to shave his head if he loses.
should be in bed.
It's gonna happen. All right, let's move on to the next ones. Completely unanimous.
The only game here that I really had trouble with was the New England Jets game. I mean, the Jets have looked but the Patriots, even after the hero Bailey Zappi came in last night, I mean, they fell flat after the first two drives. So that was kind of the toss up here for me.
Actually,
Yeah, pretty much.
for me, I struggled with three of them. The Dolphins, I think, could struggle against the Lions. I think the Lions have a bounce back. And of course, the Arizona game that we just talked about. And New England, for some reason, Bailey Zappi.
I did not struggle as much with the New England and Jets game. I think the Jets have looked pretty good, actually.
Yeah, the
My
Jets,
concern with the Jets is Zach Wilson, not the rest of the team.
Yeah, but they can work around that. I mean, who did they just sign to replace Breeze Hall?
James Robinson.
Yeah, that's right. So they'll be fine.
The backup running back in Jacksonville.
He was a 1,000-yard rusher last year before he tore his ACL.
I
or
had him,
Achilles.
yeah, I had him on my fantasy team last year, and he performed fine.
Yeah, well, we'll see how it goes. But they are the Jets, and the Jets will
Be the Jets.
be the Jets.
I say if we have a child, we can't quote Big Daddy right now.
So, all right, let's move on to the next ones. The Colts, the big change for Mr. DeFreeze. And then, of course, me and him picking the Rams this week, unless he wants to change his pick back
Oh, okay.
again.
I'll just keep it as it is.
You like the backup quarterback there in Indy, Derek?
No.
Yeah, that's the only reason why I picked the Commanders.
Yeah, and that was one I struggled with on that because I was like, they've looked better than the Commanders, but it's
I don't know.
at home. It's at home at Lucas Oil. I think they've had just a little bit of home field advantage, but if it's by anything, it's not going to be by much.
The
I
entire-
actually struggle with that one a little bit. Yeah, Matt Ryan was benched, sure, but the Sam Ellinger,
something like that, yeah.
yeah, I mean he's probably not a great passer, but he's the reason they switched them out is because he can move.
And because he's
So,
so goddamn
Opens
beautiful.
up.
Well, I'm
He-
sure that has nothing
Darn
to do with
beautiful.
their ancient quarterback and his grade 2 separated throwing shoulder.
Yeah, but he opens up more of the run game, and I mean, they have an incredible running back, so it was actually more of a difficult choice for me than it normally would.
Yeah, that's how I felt with it. So
But the thing that set it apart for me was the rushing defense and offense for Washington is better. So
Yeah, the entire NFC East has been just they've been better than anybody anticipated, and Washington is one.
and the AFC South has sucked. So
Yes, they have.
so, but yeah, if anything, it'll just even out with Brady's odd pick. So
That's what you think. I'll see you in third place this week.
All right, let's get on to the last three games here. Jessica with the only dissenting going with the 5-1 Giants.
all right,
one
hear me out here.
No, I struggled with that one. I really
All right.
did.
I did too.
yeah,
Those two teams are so equal in so many stats, but New York is allowing less points per game and yards per game. They played and beat similar QBs. Lamar Jackson, it was the closest that I could think of. And Rashad Penny's injured. So I think that they're going to be limited by that this week. Seattle is slightly worse in their rush defense. So
Here's a fun fact for everyone here and everyone watching at home. There's one game this week that's being played between two winning teams, and it's that game, the Seattle Seahawks versus the New York Giants, not the Ravens Bucks, not the 49ers Rams, not the Packers Bills. This is the only only game this week between two teams with a winning record.
That is crazy.
So
Nuts.
take from that what you will. I mean, I'm with Jess though. I struggled more with this one, and I think this is just going to be more of a shootout because both of these defenses are going to get tired.
yeah, they are. What are you doing?
Yeah. Well, Penny might be out, but Walker has been filling in admirably. I think that's part of the reason why they've not struggled so much. But yeah, for some reason I keep picking against the Seattle Seahawks, and they keep winning.
Just to
This week-
spite you. All right, so if Sam picked the Seahawks, I got to pick the Giants.
I feel like
too
the
late. It's on the
Seahawks may win this week.
PowerPoint. It's on the PowerPoint.
On the PowerPoint, can't change it now. So, yeah, that's it. I think the other two are pretty self-explanatory why we picked them. So,
Pretty much, yeah.
hmm
All right. Well, that's it, guys. Thank you so much for watching. We appreciate it. Leave a like, comment. Again, let us know who you think is going to win, who you think is wrong.
Tell them all why they're wrong about Carolina.
Say it in smooth ASMR.
Say how much you think Brady's going to stay at the bottom of the pack, and and say how much you want Carol to come and help cut his hair.
It's not happening, Carol. Save your money.
Click subscribe so you know when our videos drop. Most of the time I upload them on Wednesday or Thursday. It's whenever I get to editing. Click that bell so you're notified. And as always, I'm Tarek.
I'm Jess.
I'm football Jesus.
that's Emmett. And I'm Sam. You have a great football week.
Bye, guys.